Okay, everybody's coming back from break now, and I hope you're enjoying the presentation up to this point. I know it's a lot of information for a short period of time, but that's why you have the recording, right? So you'll be able to go back and review some stuff. Somebody had a question. They wanted me to explain the policy for the EC2 instance. Don't worry, I'm going to actually demonstrate it now. But the purpose of creating that role, it was for the instance to use. So the role had the permissions policy where I gave it S3 permissions, right? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to launch an EC2 instance, and I'm going to tell it to assume that role so it will have those permissions available to it. So when my application is going to run on the instance, it's going to retrieve the credentials from the metadata of the instance, and then it will have permissions to make the S3 calls. So that's basically what we're doing here. All right, so I'm going to start now the demo of launching an EC2 instance and then logging into it. Hopefully everybody's back from their break so we can start. Okay, let's start. Okay, so I'm going to go under EC2, right? And what I want to do is, first of all, just show you I have some running instances here. Okay, and a couple ones that are stopped. Okay, this one here was actually generated by the VPC wizard. So this is actually the NAT instance. So I'm just going to actually name it NAT instance. That was not one I created. That was built by the VPC wizard. Okay, here's some other ones. You know, there's a WordPress one running in here and stuff like that. Okay, I'm going to create a new instance. I'm just going to click on Launch Instance. Now here is where I pick the AMIs. Okay, now this first one right here, you can see it's a Linux AMI provided by Amazon, HVM, right? EBS backed. Okay, so this is going to be an EBS volume for the boot volume, and it's using HVM. Is exactly what we're looking for. It's a Linux instance, and it's on the free tier, so that's a good choice. You can see other Linuxes on the free tier. You can see Windows, right? And then you've got some other instances available, and it keeps on going on and on, a whole bunch of different choices. You could create your own AMIs, which I'm going to do a little bit. Those will be listed over here under my AMIs. You can go to the marketplace and purchase AMIs. Basically, you pay by the hour for them in the marketplace, or you can get a community AMI, which people have shared with the world. Okay, so I'm going to pick the first one. All right. And now the next thing up is to pick an instance type and size. Okay, I'm just going to go with the free one again for this. Picking a T2 Micro. Again, this is a very inexpensive EC2 instance. One virtual CPU that we can get access to 100% of it only in burst mode. 1 GB of memory. Okay, and not the greatest network performance, but moderate. Okay, good enough for our demo purpose, so I'm going to click on Configure Instance Details next. Now here is where I need to pick the VPC. Okay, always remember to pick your VPC. Now notice how default VPC was the default. That's the way it always is. That's why it's called the default VPC. Okay, so be careful you don't mistakenly pick the wrong one. All right, demo VPC. Okay, now the next thing is to pick a subnet. Now our VPC has 2 subnets, remember, public and private, remember? Well, for my demo purposes, I just want to be able to get an application launched on an instance and log into it and show it on the internet. So I'm going to pick the public subnet, and I want to get a public IP address assigned to it so I can reach it. Here is where I pick the role. Okay, so that S3 upload policy role that I created right there, that's the one that I want. Okay, and the rest of the stuff I can leave it as it is. Right, I don't see anything we need to do except for this part down here, advanced details. This is very important. Okay, what I need to do is I want to put user data script in here that's going to install PHP, Apache, and download my code from the S3 bucket. And I showed you that before on the slides, and I showed you the bucket before. So I'm just going to copy my code right in here. See, it's a bash script. Okay, I'm going to copy that in there, and that's going to run when the instance first launches. Okay, next I'm going to click on Add Storage, and you can see by default It's got an 8 GB general purpose SSD boot volume. I can add more volumes if I want, but this is all I need for my purposes. Next is add tags. Okay. There's no tags in here, but it's always good to have some tags on your instances just to help you organize them, because you could have lots. So I'm just going to create a key called name for this purpose just to show you, and just say S3 upload. Okay. And then next, configure security group. All right, now this is really important. I have to have a security group, right? But I already created one. So I'll just click connect, select an existing security group, which I did with you guys. I created that already. And I'm going to choose the public web SG security group that I created. You can see the rules down below. So this is going to allow me to HTTP into it and also SSH from my IP address. Okay. Now I'll click review and launch. Everything looks fine. So I'll just click on launch. All right, now here's the key pair. I have some key pairs I could use, right? So I could choose an existing key pair, or I could choose to create one at this time. And so I'm going to create a key pair just to show you how it works for this. And I don't know, what should I call it? I'll call it S3 upload key. Okay, so all you have to do is give it a name, and then you could download it right here, download key pair. Now don't forget what's happening here is this is going to take the public part of this key and copy it onto the instance. Okay, I'm going to save the key pair. This way I have access to the private key, which is going to be used to make the SSH connection in a bit. So that gets saved into my downloads. You can see it just popped up on the screen as well. That's what it looks like. There's my private key. Okay. All right, now I'm going to click on launch instances. Okay, so now the instance is launching, and if you want, you can just click on view instances and actually see it. And there it is right there. You can see the one where it's got the little circle going around. You can see the instance state is pending. Okay, if it's in the pending instance state, that means it's still copying the files from the AMI onto the boot volume. Okay, once it enters the running state, then that means that process finished, and now my bootstrapping script will run next. Okay, now if we look at the description tab down below, we can see some information about this instance is already here. For example, it's been assigned a public IP and a public DNS name. Okay, I could put any of those in my browser, right? And as soon as Apache has been finished installing, that's going to appear on the screen, the Apache default web page. So let's see if it's there yet. Oh, there it is. So it's already installed Apache, and that's coming up. Now, don't forget, we also told it to install PHP, right? And to download my application from the S3 bucket. Now, I don't know if that's done or not yet, but let's go ahead and just start trying it, and maybe it'll be there soon. So if I just go to the index.php page for my application, if it's not here, I'll just try it again in a minute. Oh, it's there. Okay, so my application was already downloaded and installed that quickly. The instance launched. Okay, it did a yum update, it installed Apache, installed PHP, downloaded my application, and unzipped it. Okay, now here it is up and running. Notice my application is telling me it's getting credentials from the instance role. Remember when I had it running at the local host over here? It was getting credentials from the environment variables. Now it's getting credentials from the instance role that we assumed when we launched the instance. Okay, now this works same as it did before. It has the same permissions I had before. Not the same permissions, actually permissions associated with the role, which has permissions to S3. So I should be able to upload files into it. No problem. There you go. Okay, so that's it. It's actually running on an EC2 instance. Now that didn't take long at all. Did it? That wasn't too bad. Okay, now what if I want to log in to the instance? What if I want to log into the instance? All right, so that's something we can do. With Mac, you can just use a terminal window and SSH into it. With Windows, desktop or laptop, you're going to have to install Putty, as I said. I have a Mac, so I'll show you on Mac. But basically, Putty, it's pretty straightforward. You just follow the Putty instructions. So let me just show you how you do this. First of all, I'll just clear the screen. Okay. And what I need to do, first of all, is that key that I downloaded, it actually has to be set with very tight permissions for SSH client to allow me to use it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change to my downloads directory, right? And I'm going to chmod that key, okay, to a very tight permission. Okay, now that that is done, I should be able to log into the instance as with SSH. I have to use the EC2 user because that's the default user that's created on the instance for me, and then the IP address of the instance. Okay, so now I'm in to the instance, and I can just verify that and just say there. And you could see there's the zip file that was downloaded, and then the directory that was unzipped, and there's the code. Okay. Yeah, pretty straightforward. Again, you know, I make it look really easy on this demo. So make sure that you try this out yourself with your own account and repeat all these steps that I'm doing to get really comfortable with it. All right. All right. Now that was for a Linux instance. If you were to do a Windows one, basically all you have to do is know how to get the administrator password. Okay, so I can see that I had a Windows host here, and his key pair name is Wade Key. So if I go under Actions, Get Windows Password, I just have to provide the Wade Key pair. Hopefully I got it right here. Okay, and then click on Decrypt Password. There you go. Okay, so now I can remote desktop to the instance with this address as administrator and password. Okay, that's all you have to do, and then your remote desktop in. So I think you guys can figure that out. But that's the key, is to how to get the administrator password.